Hey everyone, welcome to this fake cake pop tutorial. I am so excited to have you here today. My name's Cassie if you're new here, and I'm so happy to show you how to make these cute little cake pops. So let's get started. The first thing you'll need is some clay. I use Modelite for this project, but you could also use Model Magic or some other air dry clay that's that foam type of clay. And I'm going to take out a decent amount. We're going to make 4 different ones here today. So I'm going to take out enough to make all 4. And then I'm just going to work the clay in my hands a little bit. I'm working on a piece of wax paper here so that I don't get any dust particles and like glitter or anything like that that might be on my craft mat. And then we're just going to roll this into a little log. And I'm doing this so that we can cut it into equal portions so that all the cake pops are about the same size. And then I'm just going to mark with an X-Acto knife. You could use anything to mark your spot where you want to tear off. Okay, hopefully that'll be pretty close to even. So I'm just going to take off the pieces about where I marked. And then just roll these into a little ball. And once I get it in a ball, I'm using my fingers to just refine the shape a little bit, make sure that it looks nice and round. We're going to be covering these with a lot of things, but I want the shape to be as round as I can get it. So I made 3 round cake pops, and then I also want to make an Easter egg one. So I'm making this one more of a egg shape. So I made a ball, and then I'm just taking my hand and working it into an egg shape. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to need is some paper straws, and I have some pink and green ones here for these Easter fake cake pops. And I don't like to use the full length because it's too long for my purposes, so I end up cutting about 2/3 to use, and then I'll just save the other third for another project. This little piece right here makes a perfect straw in like a fake drink or something. Okay, so now we're just going to put the straws into the fake cake balls. So I'm going to use the end that I cut to put inside so that the nice end is the end that's showing. So just press it up in there, and then you'll probably have to do a little reshaping. And before I put this over to dry, I wanted to show you what I made to dry my cake pops and marshmallows and things like that. So I took an old Michael's box, I mean any box will work, and then I just poked, I actually drilled these holes in, and then that way my little cake pops can just stick right in there and dry without you know, having to have a flat side or anything. So now we need to make a few little details for some of these. So I'm going to take a little ball of clay out here. So we're making a bunny face and then a bunny butt. So these are going to be for those little details. So I'm going to pull off a chunk here for the face and then a chunk for the butt. So a little bit smaller for the butt one. We just have a couple little things for that. So for the face, we need to make some ears. So I'm going to, and then we also have the little cheeks, or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's cheeks. So I'm going to use that piece for the cheeks, and then I'll use this for the ears. So I'm going to cut this ball in half, or tear it in half. Just kind of mark it with my knife there and then just tear it so that the ears are hopefully the same size. And then to make the ears, we're just going to roll this out a little bit, and then I'm going to press it with my finger. And then kind of pinch it at the top so it makes an ear shape. You can make these as tall as you want. And then I'm going to press it in a little bit more so that it has like an indent where the inside of the ear would be. Okay, and then I'm just going to make another one that matches that, or as close as possible. Okay, those look pretty close to the same to me. So I'm going to put those aside for a second. And then we need to make the little cheeks. So we're just going to make 2 little balls. So I'm going to make 2 little balls to make the cheeks on the bunny's face. And so I'm just rolling these into a ball, and then I'm going to flatten them out just a little bit. So that's how they look. And then I want to give them some whiskers. So I have this little old paintbrush. It's crusty on one side. So I'm going to cut some of these bristles off and use those as whiskers. So I'm just going to take like a little bunch and stick them in there. And then just kind of press the clay around where you poked them in just to make sure. Now, if you don't have an old paintbrush that you would want to use with this, you can just use, you could just use paint and paint them on to the face. And then for the bunny butt, we need a tail and then we need 2 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and make the tail. Just a little ball of clay, and put that aside. And then we'll make the little feet. Got to make sure you get them the right size for your little cake pops. You don't want extremely huge feet. Okay, then we're going to flatten these out. And then I'm going to make it like longer than, I don't want them to necessarily just be little smushed circles. So I'm going to kind of push it so that it's like an oval more. So I'm going to take a toothpick and I'm just going to make the little toes or paws, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to use a little bit of Cameo Pink to put some details on. So we're going to make the little like pads of the feet. So I'm just going to put a little dot by each toe. I don't know what you call those. And then one right here. In the center of the foot. Could do like a little heart shape almost. Okay, and then we need to put some pink inside the ears as well. And the reason we're doing this right now is because once you get the fake chocolate on there, it dries up pretty quickly. So I want to make sure that these can be attached just using that without having to glue or anything. So I have a disposable bowl here I'm going to use, and I'm going to use this caulk that I got at Dollar Tree, and you don't need a caulk gun or anything for it. You can just squeeze it right out of the tube. So I'm going to put a pretty good amount in here, and then I'm going to use this pink parfait from Apple Barrel as my color. So I'm going to put some of that in. And I'm going to add a little bit of gloss Mod Podge, and that's going to help thin this out a little bit, and it's also going to give it a little bit of a sheen so that it looks like real chocolate. Okay, then I'm going to take a popsicle stick and I'm just going to stir this all around. And I don't want this to be too thick. It needs to be able to coat the cake pop, but I also don't want it to be too thin to where it's going to be drippy either. So there's kind of a fine line. So this is a little bit too thick, like see how it is. And when it's too thick like that, when you put it on the cake pop, it makes a lot of like streaky spots. It doesn't look very realistic. So I'm just adding a little more Mod Podge to thin it out a little bit more. Not too much, just do a little bit at a time to make sure that it doesn't get too liquidy. That seems like it's going to be pretty good. So I'm going to take my first cake pop and I'm going to just roll it around in here. Now be careful not to get it onto your stick, and you know, you won't be able to get right up to the stick doing it this way. We'll use the popsicle stick to put some more on in a bit, but just get it coated as much as you can this way. And then take your popsicle stick and then just get up around that straw without touching it. And then you can smooth it out a little bit if there are any spots that are like too thick or just don't look great. This mixture kind of levels itself out a lot, so that's one thing I really like about it. It makes it kind of smooth out a little bit once it starts settling. Okay, and then if you have any bubbles that you want to pop, just use a toothpick and you can like just hit them really quickly and get rid of those. Now I'm going to put some sprinkles on the top. I'm not going to coat the whole thing. I'm just going to do maybe like halfway down. So I made these Easter sprinkles, and if you haven't seen my video for how to make your own sprinkles, be sure to check that out. I'm going to link to it in the description, and I will also put an end card on the end screen for you so that you can check it out if you want to make your own sprinkles. There's lots of cool ideas in there besides just what you see here, so different options. Okay, so I'm just putting these out so I can just kind of roll the top of this in the sprinkles rather than sprinkling them on. Just seems easier to do this. And then I'm just going to pat them down. And then just add some wherever I need some extras. Okay, I think that one looks pretty cute. So I'm going to put that in my box to dry for now. The next one we're going to do is, we'll do the two bunny, the bunny face and the bunny butt cake pop next. So I'm going to make some white caulk mixture. Since I'm doing two, I'm going to do even more of this mixture because I want to make sure I have enough to do both of them. And if I have extra, I always store it in a paint container so I don't waste any of this. And then I'm adding some Apple Barrel Snow White for the color. The caulk is white itself, but this just makes it a nice brighter white. And then some Mod Podge. So this is still too thick, so I want to add some more Mod Podge to it. That seems like a good consistency, I think. So just dip like we did the pink one. And then again, if you have any bubbles that need to be popped, you want to do that right away because if you wait, it'll just make a big hole there. If it's like a little bit dried up, keep that in mind. Pop the bubbles right away. Okay, so now decide which side you're going to use for your bunny's face. And we're going to start with the little cheeks. So we're just going to place those. Oops. Place those right on here, right next to each other. I'm going to use this pink Scribbles. It's called Wild Raspberry, and I'm going to make a little nose for this bunny. So I'm going to make like a triangle, upside down triangle shape. Or that's my hope anyway. Okay, and then you need some eyes. So I'm going to use black scribbles. This is shiny black. You could also just use regular paint for this too. Oh man. And then I'm just going to take my white fabric paint and just make a little dot in the eyes. So this one's Shiny White by Scribbles. The one thing I don't like about these fabric paints is that they spurt out all of a sudden sometimes. It's really frustrating. Okay, and then we just need to put his little ears on. Oh, he's so cute. So there he is. Isn't he so adorable? And now we'll do the little bunny butt. So we're gonna dip this the same way. And then pop any bubbles that you have that you need to get rid of. This one actually looks pretty good for me. And then we're just gonna put the bunny feet and the tail on. So choose the side you want to use, and then the little feet on. I like to turn them out a little bit. And then put the little tail wherever you want it. There's the little bunny butt. And last but not least, we're going to do the Easter egg. This is Lilac Mist from Apple Barrel. This one turned out pretty smooth, so I don't want to mess with it too much. And then just pop any of your air bubbles. Okay, so I'm going to do a few different things on this one. I'm going to make a design with the pink fabric paint. So I think I'm just going to do kind of like a little zigzaggy design. And then I think I'm going to do another one down here with the white. So I'm going to add some of these confetti sprinkles in the center of those two lines, like dots. And I also show in the sprinkles video how to make these sprinkles as well. And then I just want to put some of the other sprinkles on the top of this one. I think that'll look cute too. So I'm just going to put some on my mat here, and I'll just put the top right into them. Little Easter egg one. Isn't that so cute? So I have to address the situation that's happening with the bunny ears. They are falling over because the caulk was so wet when I put them on. So to stick those, you might want to wait a few minutes for your caulk to dry up a bit before you put them on. They're falling over. And if worse comes to worse, you can always just let the caulk dry completely and then glue your bunny ears on after the fact with hot glue, and that'll work just fine too. So they're, now that it's dried a little bit, it seems like they're gonna stay. But when the caulk was really wet, they just kept flopping over. So keep that in mind. And now the last thing I want to do is add some little bows to my cake pops. So I have some ribbon over here. These two came from Dollar Tree, and then this came from Joann's last year. I got it on sale at Easter time. So I'm just hot gluing my little bows on to the sticks. So there's that one. Now another thing that would be cute is if you wanted to put like a little ribbon up here by the ear, then that, you know, like it would have to be a tiny one, but make it look like a little girl bunny. That would be cute. There's the bunny face. And the bunny butt. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. My favorite, I think, is the Easter egg. I think it turned out so cute. And there's the Easter egg. Thank you so much for spending your time crafting with me today. I know you have a ton of choices in craft YouTube channels, and I appreciate so much that you've spent your time here with me today. Be sure to check out that sprinkles video that I've mentioned before. Be sure to subscribe too, because I'm going to have a lot of other Easter projects coming up soon, and you won't want to miss them.